Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Homefront Harmony. I am your host, Stevie Dahl. I'm excited about today's episode. We love to talk to veterans and especially see different perspectives and point of views after transitioning out of service. Now, what's ironic about today's episode is the power of social media is going to show you how this goes on because they saw our podcast and said, hey, Josh is a vet. We want him on there. And I said, hey, then let's have Josh come out. So please join me in welcoming you today, Mr. Josh Miller. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm very, very good, my friend.
Thank you for having me on.
Oh, thank you for your service. Now, you are a veteran. What branch did you serve in?
Army.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long were you in?
6 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 06 to 12.
Wow. Well, thank you very, very much. I appreciate that time that you put in there. Now, was the Army something you had always wanted to do, or you just...
Yeah, as a kid, I was very much into history. My grandfather was a command sergeant major on my mom's side. And then just being a product of being in high school when 9/11 happened.
True.
I almost joined right out of high school with one of my buddies who joined the Nevada Guard.
Okay.
Didn't, kind of got talked out of it by my family and went straight to working for the family business. And then right after like turning 21, I just wasn't working very well with my dad. I was a young, kind of stubborn. Yeah. And the oldest, me and my dad kind of clashed a lot. So one day I quit working for him.
Okay.
And this was in like 2005, right when the housing market was going crazy, and had a close family member friend who was like, I can train you how to do mortgages, and spent like 2 months kind of working for that company that they had just stood up that was starting to fall apart, and went and started training in-house at Lexus of Las Vegas for probably like 4 or 5 months. And just randomly one day got sick of it, quit, and walked into a recruiter station and joined the Army. I think I went to basic in like June of 06. So
wow. All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it was a real just like, okay, I got to go off and do my own thing. And I wanted to do this out of high school. I didn't. I'll go do it now.
There you go.
My family wasn't very happy at first with the decision of the Army, especially 06, because I think Iraq was pretty much like at its peak. My dad even had a Navy recruiter come to the house the day before I was supposed to go to MEPS to go away to basic.
Navy. Yes.
Yeah. Which I wasn't very happy about, and still went to the Army. So it was cool because I actually had my cousin living with me at the time. When I came home and told him I had just signed up for the Army, he was like, well, I'm not doing anything. I'm just working at 7-Eleven. Maybe I'll join. So I took him into the recruiter station, which ended up changing my job. So I had signed a contract to be infantry. And some reason I had that in my head. That's what I wanted to do. I think it even had follow-up ranger training with it.
Oh, wow.
He had a GED. So all of a sudden we had to tear that contract up. He had to, we both had to go up to MEPS for him to take like an extra test. And then in order for us to go in the buddy system, then they had to see what both of us qualified for. So that's how I ended up in the MOS that I had. Was all of a sudden I had like a long list of things to do, down to like, here's the 6 things you guys both qualify for that have school dates in the next 2 months. And we were like, all right.
Wow. All right. So 2 things. One, we always rediscuss acronyms because let's face it, the government has acronyms for everything. And sometimes they use the same acronym for 5 different things. So MOS.
Military occupation. I don't even know what it stands for. I know it's your job, what you do. I don't know what it actually. But yeah, so I ended up being a 12 Charlie, which is a bridge crew member. So like a combat engineer that built bridges. And that was, out of the 6 things they listed off, that was the one thing I was like, oh, I've seen something on Discovery Channel. They're in boats or something, right? And of course, the recruiter was like, yeah, you're going to get stationed somewhere off the water, like Hawaii or Washington. And I was so dumb that I didn't even realize, like, you don't need bridges for the ocean. You need them for rivers.
Yeah.
I had no clue what the Tigris or the Euphrates were. And so it turns out there's only like 4 or 5 active company-sized units in the Army that do bridging. And 2 of them were always in Iraq. So it was like a job that you were guaranteed as soon as you got to your unit, you were probably immediately going. So it was cool. It was a fun job, though.
Did you see combat?
Yeah, I went to Iraq twice. So 06, I went to basic, and then 07. So that unit had just gotten back from Iraq. We were supposed to go earlier in 07, but the 15-month deployment thing kind of happened. And we got pushed out 3 months, which meant the unit we were going to replace got extended 3 months.
Okay.
So we got there in like November of 07 and got home in February of 09.
Okay.
So yeah, it was fun. It's a weird MOS because most people go to Iraq and they get stationed in like one area.
Mm-hmm.
We were in charge of like 32 bridges, like half of Baghdad and everything north of that. For like the first 9 months. And then the unit in the south got redeployed with nobody to replace them. So all of a sudden we were in charge of bridges everywhere.
Wow.
So we got to go all over Iraq.
So you really know how to build a bridge?
Yeah, it was and it was a couple different styles of bridges too. It's crazy. We could put in a 40-meter bridge in 3 hours, depending on which type of bridge it is that'll cross M1 Abrams. So it was really fun. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's very cool. Now, you were in for 6 years. What made you decide to step out? Were you thinking about it for a while, or was it just...
No, actually, it's crazy. When I joined, it was only going to be like a 3-year tour just to go do something, and I didn't have any plans of making it a career.
Okay.
I enjoyed it a lot. I actually arrived in Iraq as an E3 and came home in E5. I think it was like 26 months in. So I was fast tracking on promoting, and I enjoyed it. So I got married almost immediately after getting in to like kind of not a high school sweetheart, but someone I was dating right after high school that we'd broken up right when I joined. She happened to move away from Vegas to get away from like the crowds that she was hanging with when I went to basic. And then it turned out that her parents had just moved to Texas about 2.5, 3 hours away from Fort Hood, where I got stationed.
Okay.
So she was writing me the whole time I was in basic. As soon as she found out I was going to Fort Hood, she moved from Pennsylvania, where she was living with family, to her parents in Texas. And we like immediately got back together. Ran and did the courthouse wedding. And my parents didn't even know I was married for like 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
And the only reason they found out was because we had just found out that she was pregnant.
Oh, okay.
And the day I told her I'm going to tell my parents finally, she decided to post something on Facebook before I could even tell them. So I got a call from my dad, and he wasn't very happy with me.
Uh-oh.
I was a wild young man.
Well, do you feel like the Army worked well for you because it provided, you were looking for some sort of stability, some sort of direction, and do you feel like just the Army for you gave you that for that little sense so you could start slowing down to figure out where you wanted to go and what you wanted to do?
Yeah, it definitely made me a lot more disciplined and structured and let me grow up for sure. And
Gotcha.
then growing up in a family business. So my family business, my parents started the year before I was born.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up in that, and it was, it was always a struggle. Like they did well. Like we were able to play sports and do travels, which I don't even know how they managed, because it was always a struggle as far as window tinning's a seasonal business. So the winters would always be rough. Like when I was younger, our vacations were always like Christmas through New Year's, because we would just close the shop down because there was no work.
Okay.
But they would always be struggling financially, but doing well enough to keep us in travel sports. And my dad is a character, and his leadership style, it was really good for me to go to the Army and see that, like, learn the leadership style in the military, and how, like, when you're an NCO, your job really is to take care of your soldiers. The mission is almost kind of secondary. The mission happens because you're taking care of your guys and training them to do what you do. So seeing that, being in that really structured system, getting myself back in shape. When I joined, I probably weighed 230 pounds. I got out of high school, stopped playing baseball, put on a bunch of weight.
Okay.
So that was another part of it. It was like, okay, this will go get me in shape. I got out of basic training like 169 pounds.
They work you.
Yeah.
They work you. Absolutely. Yeah.
So that got me structured to waking up early, exercising, and yeah, it was really, really good for me. I enjoyed it. I would have stayed in. So what got me, going back to your question, the reason I got out was, so 6 years in, I've now had 2 children. So my first daughter was born while I was on that first deployment.
Okay.
I got to come home for like 18 days to see her, like right after she was born, which I missed by like 2 days from like a sandstorm. But it's actually like, it was really cool, the fact that the way it happened, I landed in Kuwait, and they give you a brief on before you're going to fly home on your mid-tour leave. And as soon as we got out of that brief, I ran to the MWR, which I don't know that acronym either.
to play Guess the Acronym, Josh.
And that's where the phones were to use, right?
Yeah.
So wait in line to use a phone. And by the time I get to the phone, I get a hold of my mom, and she's in the delivery room with my ex-wife. And 20 minutes later, I hear my daughter born. So I was like live on the phone when it happened.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then I got home and got to spend some time with her. And then by the time I got home from that deployment, she was like 9 months old. In between deployments, we had another kid.
Okay.
So 2 daughters now. That second deployment in 2011, my ex had picked up it's a common story, picked up a little bit of a pill habit. That was right at the time that the whole opioid thing was going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew something was up because I could see the money going out the account in a weird way, just like $20 being taken out, like at the gas station, like several times a day, over and over and over again. Didn't know exactly what was up, but I came back, was up for re-enlistment, and got orders to go to Fort Leonard Wood, and decided to get out because I knew something was up. Marriage wasn't that good at that point.
Gotcha.
Trying to save that and make sure I was there for my kids. And I always knew I had window tint to fall back on. So right at that time that's happening, I found out there was a job opening in the Dallas area where her family was living and kind of where I wanted to stay anyways, in the window film industry for a manufacturer to be a sales rep. I was like, all right, cool. I went and interviewed for that while I was trying to process my paperwork to get out early, because when you turn down orders, you can sign another acronym, I don't know, a DEC statement, to get out early.
Yeah.
And I happened to be the retention NCO at that time, so I knew exactly what I needed to do to make that happen.
Okay.
I interviewed for that job, let them know like, hey, I've got 6 months left on my contract, but I know because I came on orders, I can probably be out in a month, which I made happen, got out, got that job. And then the marriage just totally fell apart. Like her habit got worse. I was a wreck from transitioning.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't handle it well. And picking a job where I was driving 200 miles a day just really threw me through a loop. So I ended up using the VA system in the Dallas area quite a bit. That was a pretty rough little period. And then that turned into a divorce. I ended up getting custody of my kids because she was a real wreck at the time. So it was like the free meds coming in from having TRICARE went away, and then all of a sudden the money was really disappearing, and there was no hiding it.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't end the best. But I got custody of my kids because she just was going through legal issues of getting arrested and couldn't pass a drug test. And
the thing is, it's unfortunate. There were a lot of people that were affected during that time.
Yeah.
And still to this day, there's still quite a bit of an issue with it and everything. I mean, I'm always brought back to the whole Matthew Perry thing, the fact that being him, this, wonderful celebrity, whatever, it's still a trap anyone can fall into.
Totally.
That's why I love when we've talked on the show. We had Bill Emmel on, and he was talking about the electronic stimulation that they do to help work through it. Or we had Randy Lloyd on here talking about the people training to be trainers, because the fitness is so inbred in the military where you are, because that is that transition out from service into the real world, whether you have extra baggage or not. And let's face it, military life adds some baggage. It does. It adds baggage to relationships, and not everybody's relationship handles it the same way. That's the uniqueness, like snowflakes. But the commonality I see with a lot of people transitioning out is it doesn't matter how well prepared everyone is. There is a sense of shock. There is a definite crack in the makeup of what you do, and you kind of have to figure out your plan and work through it. And I think that it was nice that you had a fallback where you had something that you knew you could walk into and go to do. I know, like when my dad got out, we kept thinking we'd end up in Texas and he'd end up a coach or something. He did not want to go that route. He did not. He did not want to go back to Texas. He loves Texas, but he grew up there and he was enjoying the traveling and being different places, So it just, you kind of figure out your own path that way.
Yeah. I got very fortunate. Like I look back on it, and even keeping up with a lot of my buddies I served with, as bad as it felt at the time, I was extremely fortunate. Like having my daughters, them being my entire world, gave me a mission, gave me a purpose. I had skills to fall back on. And I made it through it pretty good.
And I'll tell you, as the daughter of a military veteran, I am probably my sister and I are so proud of our father's service. Like, it is the coolest thing. But what he sacrificed to maintain being a family man, even during his service and everything. And like you're saying, you got out because you needed to take care of your girls. We see that.
Yeah. Well,
we see that. Because it's pretty phenomenal.
Those little girls definitely probably saved my life, because it was a little dark time.
Mm-hmm.
But I had them, and I had the skills that I had growing up. So the sales job did not work out. I hated it. So 4 months in, I quit that, and then luckily I had a strong family back here too. So my family business here was still going. My brother had kind of stepped in after I left. He's a little bit younger. It was thriving, doing well. While I was going through divorce, I wasn't trying to move back here because I wasn't sure what custody was looking like.
Right.
So, and I didn't have the money at the time to like start my own business, but I knew I could. Mm-hmm. So I reached out to them, and they just happened to have a big project happening here over the winter, like right when I filed for divorce. There was a domestic violence thing that happened where my ex ended up getting arrested for hitting me, and I ended up being able to get a restraining order against her. So I was able to bring the girls out here with me basically for the holidays. The court date, it was supposed to be actually in December before Christmas, but she extended it because she knew she wasn't going to be clean by then. And so all of a sudden I got to stay here through December to like January to work on a big project we were working on. I attended like every Rebel gas station in town and did graphics on all of them. So that was like really big project for me to make some money.
Yeah.
And then while I was here, we came up with the idea that we'll just, instead of me starting my own business, we'll open another location of Green Valley Window Tint in the Dallas area where I was living.
Okay.
So we opened that in McKinney, like north of Dallas.
I know Dallas places. Yeah. Sorry. Daddy was born and raised. I know. My family started Bedford, Texas. I have ancestors buried in the graveyards there that rode covered wagons down from like Indiana to.
Yeah, I loved Texas. I loved that area.
Yeah.
So I actually was living in Prosper. My shop was in McKinney.
Okay.
My ex's parents, who I'm still really, really close with to this day, they were in Little Elm.
Okay.
And they had just bought a little country house actually out in like Tom Bean, which is a really small little town, like over by
I have an aunt and uncle in Weatherford right now.
Okay.
He was actually, they were in Arlington for a long time. He was a Southern Baptist preacher, massive church. And then when he retired, they ended up in the Weatherford area. But yeah, we got Texas.
Yeah, I really like that area. There's so many cool little country towns like that where you're a population of 1,000 still, but you're 40 minutes out of the Metroplex. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling I'll end up back in that direction someday. I really like that area.
I love Texas.
Yeah.
Sorry. I love Texas. We could talk about Texas forever. Yeah. Let's focus back on you. So your baby girls, your heart, and you're getting a career and you're making it work. So you started in Texas. How long until you transitioned back into the Vegas area?
So I ran that location for about 1.5 years, and that's when the divorce was finalized. And then my ex kind of fled the state, was on the run with a warrant out for arrest, and all of a sudden I kind of got the advice from my lawyer that like, well, if you're going to move, now's a good time because there's not really anything she could do about it anyway. So sold that location, like the phone numbers and everything, the leads that I was generating, and got the offer to come back to this location and kind of come in and help run it, and came back in 2014. So I got out in 2012. By 2014, I was back out here.
Cool. That's cool. It's funny to me how we go on roller coaster rides. Yeah. But they still take us full circle.
Yeah.
Even though we're on ups and downs and we're doing little turns and some loop-de-loops, they take us on the full circle. Like, so I was born here.
Okay.
They were stationed out here when I was born. My dad was supply, so it didn't matter whether it was a naval base or not. We would be at. He was actually working out at the test site, and then we moved away, and then we all ended up back here. My sister's here.
Yeah.
It's like we were four little musketeers. We stuck together like that. So
Vegas is a great place. Like,
it is.
I grew up in Henderson, and I lived here longer than I've lived anywhere now. My parents moved here when I was 7 from Southern California.
Okay.
So I pretty much grew up out here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's funny, actually, one of your previous guests, Abby, was my next door neighbor when I was like in 3rd grade.
How funny.
All the way through high school.
Oh, we love Abby.
Yeah.
Hey, Abby.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I tell people all the time, Vegas is one of the smallest, largest towns you'll ever meet because everybody knows everybody, there's a connection. And then you go into the military community and holy cow, does it just get even stronger on it.
Yeah.
My husband's been out here since he was 4. So he practically feels like he was born and raised, though he likes to tell people I was actually physically born out here.
Yeah.
Now, here's an interesting tidbit. When you were born in a city that, is incorporated like Vegas, the base can't be on it. So my birth certificate says I was born in rural Las Vegas.
Okay.
Because the city of Las Vegas was incorporated. Something with the gambling guys.
Yeah, everything out here is strange. I just found out recently the Strip isn't even in Vegas. It's in Clark County.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the craziest way that they level stuff out and how they do it. And my favorite was I was with my parents. I think it was around close to like my 30th birthday. We were living here and we were driving to the base and we're looking at the new hospital that had been built up and it was newer. It wasn't brand new at the time, but it was newer. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, well, where's the hospital I was born in? And they're like, that field over there. And I was like, wow, okay, good to know.
That's funny.
But I will tell you, to this day, to get to go to a commissary exchange, walk around, do anything like that is still one of my favorite things to do forever. Yeah. It was a whole thing. You go to the exchange, you shop, you get lunch in the food court, then you go do your commissary shopping, and then you go home and unload the groceries.
Yeah. Anytime we do work on Nellis, I always go check out the food court.
Oh, yeah, you have to.
It's so nostalgic.
It is. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. It's a great thing to be with. So now you've got a business you're running.
Yeah, so my brother never left. I came back, joined in, and the plan was for us to slowly take it over. By 2020, we were already taking over a lot of different parts of the business. Okay. And then my dad had a stroke. And then it was pretty much like, okay, my brother's basically like the CEO. He's like in charge. Okay. And then my sister had just come back into the business too, who she never wanted anything to do with the business. Okay. So she came back in, and then right around that time, we kind of struck a deal with my parents that the 3 of us are kind of taking over. And you guys can watch grandkids. And my mom still does some of the books, some of that type of stuff, but day to day, not very much. She'll help with like insurance, and my sister's slowly taking all that stuff over. But we're basically right now kind of buying them out, or they're getting paid for a couple more years, and then ownership will transfer over. It's been going really well. I got remarried, and I've got 5 kids total now.
Wow. So look at you go.
Yeah. So my current wife's actually like 3rd generation Henderson, speaking of people that have been. Oh,
see? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I grew up in Old Henderson, and a lot of my friends growing up I think Abby's dad moved here a long time ago. A lot of my childhood friends are like that. Yeah. But she had a son that was the same age as my little girl. Okay. And he was probably like, they were like 4 or 5 when we got together, right? Okay. Almost about a year after I'd been back here. We got together kind of with the goal of like, we'll have 1 more. And 1 more turned into an 2 more. Oops. Yeah. So I've got kids now ranging 17 to 15-year-olds, a 5-year-old that's about to be 6, and a 3-year-old. So I just put 1 into kindergarten this year and 1 into her senior year of high school. Wow. Yeah. There's never a dull moment.
No, I imagine there's not. I mean, we were just, my nephew graduated college in May. 2 weeks later, my niece graduated high school. My sister just took her up and dropped her off at college. And thank goodness she's loving it, which isn't a surprise to me. She's amazing. And our nephew's doing so great. He ended up staying in Colorado, in Denver, and getting a job. They're just like the smartest kids ever. But man, that 2 weeks was like, bam, bam, you know, it's just holy cow.
Yeah, I'm not ready for the senior year for my oldest. It's like, it's freaking me out.
Oh, so. I didn't even birth them. And I was just like, oh my gosh, they're graduating, you know,
yeah. She's starting her first cross country race of her senior year this Saturday. And it's like,
oh, how exciting. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So. Fun. Yeah, and then we're going on our first college visit the first weekend of September.
Very cool.
So she's getting recruited right now for track and cross country.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so the whole fitness thing, that was the other thing that really helped me transitioning and getting out.
Fitness.
I gotten out of shape a little bit going through the divorce. And when I had the girls on my own and realized like, all right, I can throw all the crap food out of the pantry, and I started just buying fresh food basically like daily. There was a Sprouts right around the corner from my house. I was Sprouts. Like, all right, my rule is if it's gonna go bad, if it's gonna take longer than 3 days to go bad, I'm not buying it, and I'll just buy food every day. And then I started getting back into running, which I had enjoyed when I was in the Army.
There you go.
Got crazy into that, got into running trail races, and that spawned into ultramarathons.
Oh, do you do those like several miles, many hour running things?
Yeah, so I haven't done them in a little bit, but I did a bunch of them and got my brother into them. He actually just finished his 5th qualifying race for Western States just like last week. That was 100K, but the 4 previous years he's run a 100-miler. And 2 years ago, I tried running a 100-miler with him, which I still haven't done, but I've run a bunch of 50Ks. And the 100-miler I ran with him, I finished the first 3 20-mile loops. So I finished 100K. And then I kind of went out on a loop and ran out of time to basically start the next loop. So I made it like 69 miles.
See, I'm over here thinking I'm all a badass because I do 2 miles in 30 minutes on the treadmill. Go me! Jeez, 100-mile running. Oh my goodness. Do you think that you picked up like, for the running and stuff like that, the endurance and everything from the basic training in the Army? Is that where you just started to get interested in it, or did you run prior to that?
No, baseball was my main thing, and I got good at running short distances in the Army. Like, by the time I was an NCO, all of a sudden the first couple of years I was in, I put a little bit of weight on again, and then once I became an NCO, I'm like, all right, I got to take this seriously. I got soldiers I'm in charge of now. Lost weight, got back down into good shape, and was running the max in the 2-mile PT test, running at like 12 minutes. And then I was at Fort Hood when the Fort Hood shooting happened. We had just gotten back from Iraq. So the 1-year anniversary of that, they decided to do a half marathon in tribute to the 13 people that died. And there was like at every mile marker, there was a sign of one of the people that died with like family members and friends, basically as like little aid stations with water and encouraging you along. And with a couple of my NCO buddies, we're like, okay, we got to go run that. And didn't do any training for a half marathon. Was able to run 2 miles at the time in 12 minutes. So I'm like, this will be no problem. Went and ran with them, and they were in way better shape than me and had done training for a longer distance race and ran it in like 1:45. And from there, I was hooked. I went to like REI in Austin to go get better running shoes because like, okay, now I want to run a marathon. While I'm there, the guy helping me is like, and this is actually how our podcast became named Born to Tent. I read the book Born to Run. Which is like in the ultra community, like everybody's read that book. But that was in 2010. I read that book. And it like changed my life. Like, wait, people can do that? Like that was before David Goggins or Rogan was even talking about ultra marathons. And people run 100 miles? Like, this is crazy. And it like really opened my eyes to that. And that's when I started running trail races and started out with like 25Ks. And then eventually, actually, I didn't run my first ultra until I moved back here in 2014. I had gotten out of the military, put on weight again. And part of me like getting my head right was definitely getting the nutrition and getting back into running and like, okay, I'm going to train for an ultra marathon. And then by the time I moved back here in 2014, I ran my first 55K. And that I think is what sparked my brother to be like, okay, I want to run a marathon. And then he kind of went down the rabbit hole too. There's something about the consistency of the training and just getting like when you get out on longer runs where they're an hour, 2-3 hours long, the first 20 minutes always sucks. But once you get longer than that, you get into like this weird flow state where you can just, you work stuff out. And you really just get into a place in your head where it's like days that you don't run feel weird. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, I got to go for a run every day. It's crazy as this last year, I've done this a lot. I've put weight on and taken it off a bunch of times in my life.
Don't we all? Are we not supposed to be doing that over and over again?
Yeah. So I'm actually in the last like month and a half, I'm down like 15 pounds. I gained like 30 pounds last winter. So in my last journey to get it all off was in like 2018, 19. I had gotten back up to like 230 again. I was big. I had gotten married, gotten comfortable, was just focused on the business, stopped focusing on taking care of myself, and got back into running again. And in like 9 months' time, I went from like 230 down to 155, the leanest, fastest, best shape I'd ever been in my whole life. And that was just like cleaning my diet up, I was basically eating like nutritional ketosis. So like meat and fats, and ramped my running up to like 60 miles a week to go run 100K. And in that time, I decided we needed to get a family dog. And if we're going to get a dog, I need one that can run. So I got a German Shorthair Pointer, and he became my little running buddy.
Okay, there you go.
So he unexpectedly passed in October this last year, and that's what like put me. I stopped running. I started eating crap all the time, and I gained like 30 pounds in no time. So I'm back in my groove. We got another little puppy, German Shorthair Pointer, that I've been taking on the trail lately, and also the last couple of years I used my daughter's running as an excuse for me not to run as much. As like I was focused on training her and coaching her.
Yeah.
But her being around the running is crazy because right now she's ranked number 1 in the state for the 1600.
Woohoo!
And she's getting recruited for college. So
that's awesome.
But just being around it and being around ultras and stuff, I think has made her like mentally really tough because like going on a 5K run for cross country is like, okay, I've seen people run 100 miles. Like that can't be that hard. So, but she's very much like me, but then she's very much not like me. She's consistent. I think she's learned from my mistakes of not being as consistent because she's just locked in. She's always eating right. She's always training. She's running like 30, 40 miles a week, no matter what.
There you go.
Yeah. So
I'm doing this whole, I'm going to be 50 in October. So I'm doing Fit for 50 thing, but I'm not doing it like I did in my 20s. But I don't weigh myself anymore. And I can't because when I was an actress, I got anorexic. Okay. And the trigger is the number on the scale.
Yeah.
But if I work out and I'm building muscle, the number on the scale, isn't going to be the same as it was, if, kind of thing. So it was a thing that I just decided I'm just not going to look at that anymore. I'm just going to look and be okay, with myself on it. But it's, I said to my husband, after I get done with this, maybe I'll be fat after 50. And he laughed and he goes, you say that, but no, I don't see you. Because I do. I get caught up. I've always been active. I always was a tomboy, always did stuff like that. And so, and my dad, if I wanted to know, what would I do? What would the Navy do with this? Sit-ups were my thing when I was younger. Like I could just do them and not even phase.
Yeah.
But I was a gymnast, so I had core strength.
Oh, yeah, totally.
This is really easy to do. If you don't practice it, the core strength will go away, people, okay? I just want you to know, and it doesn't come back as quick as it goes away.
Oh, yeah. No, and even like running, cardio fitness, same thing. Up until like last October, I was able to do my daughter's long runs with her. Like she'll go every Sunday and run 2 hours on the trail.
Oh, wow.
And that's been something we've done together like since she was in middle school. She wasn't quite doing 2 hours then, but we worked it up to that. And then October, when I kind of fell off, all of a sudden it was like, oh, well, I'll come out there with you. And she would run 11 miles and I would run 5 and it'd be the same amount of time.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that can happen. But I do think that one of the nice parts is finding those things that do help you. That clarity is a big thing for me with the treadmill. Like I think things out in my head. I'm loud. I've said this so many times. My husband cracks up. I'll sing along to the music. I'll have conversations I'm going to have later in the day for work. And, when I lived on my own, that was no big deal. And then when I moved in with my husband, it was rather entertaining for him how loud I am when I talk. Because the earphones are in. My whole life, I always had this thing. I would put the earphones in when we were flying on the plane, and then I'd turn to my dad and not realize everybody else didn't hear the music as loud as I did. And I'd be like, Dad, this is a really great song. Yeah. Yeah. So, but no, I love that you've got that with your family where you guys have found those things that you can do. And I think that truly a lot of times family is what helps bring us back. Certain family members, certain connections we have can help bring us back and align us right into focus like your little girls did for you, And so I love that. I love that you had that with it to transition out. Do you find that you implement a lot of your military life into how you handle work?
So kind of.
Okay.
The whole like PTSD thing and that stigma, I've always, and I think this is like, it probably is a symptom or whatever, but I'm like a bigger fan of the whole idea of like post-traumatic growth, like things that are tough make you stronger, and you can either be a victim to it or you can use it as like fuel to be stronger. I think that's what got me into ultras too, is like, I can do hard things. All right, let's prove to myself again. I can go do something hard. I think I got really good at not letting stuff bother me almost too much. So when stuff gets stressful, I'm really good at just ignoring it. to the detriment of everyone around me that is stressing out about it. Because I'll be like, just chill out. It'll be all right. We're not going to die.
Yeah.
Like, all right, is somebody about to blow us up? No, we'll figure it out. And
there is a mental state to that.
That pisses everybody around me off.
Yeah.
And I know it does. So.
My dad was we call it sunshine up the butt. My dad was positive thoughts, doing positive actions, be a duck, let it roll off your back. It's going to be fine. It's going to be good. We're all going to be okay. Not everybody handles it that way, but I think that's why I like to make sure we talk about the mental health stuff, because everybody's not going to be the same. Everybody's not going to experience the same stuff, and people are going to recover different ways. And, people out there dealing with it need to know, hey, it's okay if I handle it a little different than the other person. That's how my dad got through a lot, was because he kept that positive mental state to it. Nope, it's not going to happen. When he went to Vietnam, he did 2 tours. He never thought he wasn't coming home. He knew he'd be home. Yeah. He'd be all right, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that was him in his character and his core. And if you don't react that way to it, is okay. If you do react that way to it, there's no right or wrong on that for me. I think that the more we talk and we establish and we discuss, and the more it quits being, you have to handle it this way and react that way, the better.
I've always been like that too. Like, I mean, honestly, like even my deployments, like because of the MOS we were, and how like if a bridge went down on a main supply route, we had to get it up immediately. So we'd get extra route clearance. We'd have extra security. Like we never lost anybody when I was deployed. So I was like extremely fortunate. Like our worst injury was our rear gun truck and the rear gunner is facing backwards, right? They had a tire blowout as we were going through a checkpoint, probably going faster than we should have gone, and they hit the barrier with him standing in the turret. And luckily he was wearing a vest, and the plate snapped in half instead of his entire back, but he broke his back. That was like our worst injury.
Wow.
We had some soft hits, IEDs, that nobody got injured, maybe other than concussions, which probably had caused issues later down the road. But like all in all, I was very fortunate with both of my deployments. We didn't lose anybody. I've lost way more battle buddies from suicide or car accidents or motorcycle accidents than anything. So as far as like the trauma of being deployed, I can remember vividly the first month of being there, going out the wire because all the training we did of like how bad it is, being terrified. But then like within a month, it's just like, oh, this is where we're at. And it just became totally normal. And I think that definitely stuck with me of like, all right, well, if not being worried about getting blown up, it is not going to bug me. Like, this happening with the business or some turmoil at home with my wife or whatever, like we'll figure it out. It's not going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
I think that's caused the most problems for me, is like I definitely put stuff off that probably should get taken care of. Yeah, that's probably been my biggest thing.
So I talk about this all the time. I don't like emotions, but I have them. It's okay. It's fine. And as I get older, my hormones are deciding what emotions I'm going to have. I don't like those because I am a person, you handle the situation. You react to it later. You handle it. You make sure it's handled. You make sure everybody's okay. Then you can react to it later. It doesn't quite work like that right now for me, as crazy as that is. But I remember I worked in banking, and they trained you in case you were robbed. These are the steps you do. These are the steps you do. These are the steps you do. So by the time it happened, I didn't even think. I just went through and did the steps we needed to do. And it was so funny to me because everybody else was at the same training. Half of us reacted one way, half of us reacted the other way. And it was just the layout to it. And it's a scary situation to be in. I'm not going to act like it wasn't a scary situation to be in, but it's just the way your mind works and connects to it. One of the things recently I've connected with this group that I really, really appreciate greatly, and it's in dealing with the suicides. And what they do was they created an app, and it's called QRF Up. And it's a free app that you can download. And if you are in a place and you need help, you don't have to have a cell phone signal. You can just have a Wi-Fi signal. You hit the app, automatically connects you with somebody. If you need an ambulance, if you need whatever, there's GPS that attaches to your app so they can find you, so they can help you. It is phenomenal. It was started by a gentleman who lost his brother to suicide. because the combat he had served had been too much for him on his breakdown. And I am seeing more and more items like that, more and more offerings from groups like Blue Star Families and stuff to talk to everybody in their range of what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
Because like you said, not everybody's going to handle it the same.
Yeah, no, totally. I know that my whole circumstance has been unique to me, and I recognize that when talking about this subject, veterans and dealing with combat and PTSD and all of that. Several buddies that I had that handled it completely differently.
Oh yeah,
and you see the results of it, and it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
But our generation, I got to say this. I want to thank your father, because their generation, took the shrapnel that made it to where our generation has been taken care of very well. The VA system has taken care of me very well.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah,
I mean, we can always get better. I'm never going to say we can always get better, but
it's
I'm
for
glad
sure
to
not
hear
perfect. But our even just the general public's perception on the military, like how those guys were treated compared to how Iraq and Afghanistan veterans have been treated, is night and day.
The worst story I ever heard was he was in San Francisco. I don't remember what. I think he was headed back to Vietnam or something, and he was in his sailor whites, and he was walking in the street, and people literally spit on him.
Yeah, I've heard
because
that
he was
story
Navy.
so many times.
And it just broke my heart, because a lot of that, I think, is people not understanding. We get in these stances where it's black and white, and we don't take the time to learn and understand more about what goes into it. I will fight on my last breath for military families. It is my passion. It is my cause. It is everything about me to do it. And what I love is the more I get in this, the more this podcast grows, the more people I find fighting.
Yeah.
And there's so many out there with voices trying and pushing, and I'm so grateful for that, because I talk about all the time, the spouses and the kids sometimes get forgot.
Oh no, totally. That's like bringing up my ex-wife. That's the hardest thing for me to look back on now, is like the services that were available to me weren't available to her.
Yeah.
And unfortunately she didn't make it. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not perfect yet. We're getting better. It's frustrating, and my husband and I are watching. I'm a huge diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, raised by my father. This is who I am and what I do.
I grew up a Cowboy fan.
Okay. So we're watching the Netflix thing on the Cowboys, which I can't take that much Jerry Jones. But if I get to see my Jimmy and my triplets, I'm watching it. And last night in an episode, they were replaying a game. And it was a game I watched with my dad. And I lost it. And my husband paused the thing and came over and sat next to me. He's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not." And it's so interesting what things remind, or I don't always use the word trigger, because it's not always a trigger. Sometimes it's just a memory. Sometimes it's a song. Sometimes it's a thing. And it was technically a happy memory.
Yeah.
But it made me sad today because he's not here.
Yeah.
And it was like, dang it. So I can appreciate that. And to watch somebody battle and not be able, God, I'm a fixer. And if I can't fix it, it just kills me something.
Yeah, and that's the brutal thing about addiction. I mean, it's just like you can't do that. And then I got to the point where I just realized, like, okay, I can't. I gotta take care of me. I gotta take care of these little girls. Yeah. And luckily, she was an amazing person. The fact that she knew, and she was a great mom up until the point that the addiction took over. Yeah, she was great. Yeah. But it was like she got bit by a vampire, but it was to the point that she knew, like, she didn't fight me for custody. She knew they were better with me.
Wow.
And she had a couple little stints there where it seemed like she was getting better, and then oddly enough, it wasn't even like an overdose. It was going to get some drugs and 3 a.m. in the middle of nowhere, Texas, and probably fell asleep because it looked like her car hit the side of the road and then crossed into oncoming traffic, and it was just a car accident. But looking at like the cell phone, that's probably what she was off doing.
Probably.
So yeah, it's just the families, even when it doesn't get that tragic, like when people are deployed, in my mind, the family members and the spouses and the children have a way tougher time than the deployed soldier does. At least that was my experience. I knew when I was safe and when I wasn't. They were left home guessing, you know, for 15 months, you know. We got to call back, but it was like when we were on mission for 2 weeks, it was like, hey, I'm not going to be able to call for a little while. And then they were just kind of ghosted for a week or two before I would call. Like sometimes we'd have the ability on another base that we'd land at to make a phone call, but I'd always make it a point just to focus on the mission. And when we got back to our main base, that's when I would call.
I remember knowing very young that my dad might not come home. I didn't expect him to not come home. I was invincible. But I knew at a young age, I knew he was willing to die in service for his country. And it was the way he raised and impacted me and taught me. And so that was crazy. And then when we were in Guam, he went out to sea every summer. He did really good about not getting sent out to sea. Like for Navy man, it was amazing how much he was around us. But halfway through him being gone, he would get one phone call. And it was the staticky, worst phone connection you could have in your life, but you heard his voice and you were so excited for that one phone call and you couldn't wait for that one phone call. And then when it was over, God, then you missed him more because you couldn't talk to him and you couldn't see. And nowadays the communication has changed.
Oh, yeah.
And allowed so much more. And I think that's great. But then I also can understand they're just can't get to him. They're just right there and you just can't get to, you know, and it was just like, it was a whole thing. He would always sneak home. Like he would come home. We knew he was coming home, but you'd come home from school and then dad would be in the house. And it was just the coolest thing ever.
Oh,
yeah. It was just cool.
Anytime I see those videos, it just like totally gets me.
Oh, yeah. My mother never took us to the ship. It was a special moment between her and dad. And usually it happened when we were in school. So it was convenient to just have us going to school and then just surprise us with dad being at the house. And we got home that night. So, yeah.
Yeah, but my older one was so little when I got back that she was with my wife when we like got back to Fort Hood, but she was 9 months old. And then even my second deployment, she was still little. So I was like, I've got a couple really crappy videos from when we returned, but that was still like right before we really had good like cloud.
Oh yeah,
and
everybody had their phone.
Yeah,
filming everything. Yeah,
I had some digital videos from my deployments that were on a laptop that I think got pawned or something.
Oh
no. But yeah, it's like that's the stuff that I'm like, oh man, I wish I had more from those deployments because it was literally just a couple years. But then I think back, like, you know, even a couple years earlier in Iraq, and they had nothing.
Yeah.
So the way technology has changed to communicate back home. Even my 2011 deployment, we had internet in our CHU, like in our in our room.
Oh wow.
It wasn't the best, but it was internet. Like you could at least direct
better than nothing.
That was when I got Facebook. Actually, I only got Facebook because it worked really well on that internet, and you could message back and forth pretty quickly.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, that was when I started my Facebook account. It was literally just for that. Like I was opposed to it, and then I was like, well, this is probably the best way to communicate home. So
I have a voicemail saved on my phone, and I've saved it on several computers and on several files so that I have it. And it is my dad singing happy birthday.
Oh, yeah, those are awesome.
I play it every year.
That's where this generation of people are like crazy. I'm like, I'm constantly thinking forward. Like there's a Joe Rogan quote of like, be the hero of your own story. And it's like, right now, you can actually do that with technology the way it is. I'm gonna, you know, if I can be a good example and live my life the best I can, the way we're able to capture and record and basically capture like my kids' lives, I've got pretty much their whole life, especially my little guys, and in my iCloud, like location, time, everything. You look forward like 1 or 2 generations and you're going to be able to have just AI like, hey, can you make a documentary series of, you know, my little guy, Matthew, we've got like videos of the day we like found out we were pregnant to like the ultrasounds to everything. Every single person alive right now is going to be able to have their next couple generations like watch documentaries on their entire life.
Oh, it's crazy. We go to look back at stuff at my mom's house, and they were so great. My parents were so great with photos. And I mean, there's just album after album after album of all these photos. And what is better about the digital side of it is it doesn't fade away like the pictures. Some of these pictures they're getting beat up. They're getting a little yellow. They're getting, you know, even though she put them in the nice little protector and everything, but it's still the coolest thing to see. I love to look back and see stuff like that. So I like how our phone sometimes now will give us like a little picture review or something. It does that with my husband and I in some of our trips, and we really get a kick out of it because like, oh yeah, you remember that restaurant? And we like food. So
yeah, I mean, like when my dog passed, I was able to go back in and it's like, oh, you've got 4,000 pictures and videos of your dog either on the trail or wherever, and it's like, oh my gosh, like got this whole thing right here to look back on. It almost like helped with the grieving process, you know, like. Oh yeah, we're definitely getting spoiled with technology, and then even stuff like this. Like I keep telling my grandma on my dad's side, like I'm getting you in the studio, and we're sitting down, and we're doing a pod. We're not going to put it on like the Shops podcast, but we're going to record one. I'm going to put it on YouTube, even if we keep it private for the family, whatever. I want to have that. Like I want to sit down and have conversations with you that we can let you tell your story, and then we have it for later. And it's so easy to do that now.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, even just I think years from now, looking back on the podcast that we've been doing or this episode or whatever, it's going to be so cool to have those little capsules of time and where you were at that time.
I think it's wonderful to have, and I keep trying to, we want to get my mom on here. I call her the OG military spouse. And she's like, he was out so long ago. Get the new people in, get the cut us on it. But I want to get her on here to have it. She actually will tell us stories her parents told her, like when they went through the Great Depression and they were kids and stuff that happened. And it's fascinating to hear. I can't remember if it was her mother or her father. I think it was her mother. Her mother's dad would find cardboard, and he'd take everybody's shoes and he'd draw it and he'd cut it out and he'd put it in there because they couldn't afford new soles on their shoes. So it would reinforce those soles that were already in there so they'd
last longer.
Be able to because they couldn't afford to buy new shoes. So can't imagine that.
Yeah.
You know,
we're so
can't imagine
that.
It's just, it's amazing to me the things people went through.
Yeah.
And what I loved you talked about when growing up, you know, maybe your family wasn't the richest. Neither were we. My parents, man, they did some cool things. I remember my sister and my favorite Christmas. We got this, it was an expandable plastic tunnel. I'm aging myself that this was a toy that we liked, but it was this expandable plastic tunnel. And so what they did to be creative, because they said that was one of the Christmases, they didn't have a lot of money, was we shared a room. They put a sheet over the door while we were sleeping, put the tunnel there. The only way for us to get to the tree was to crawl through the tunnel.
Oh, yeah.
And then you came out and pop, there was the tree. And we raved about that. And I remember we were talking about it just a few years ago, and my parents laughed and they go, man, we were so broke that Christmas. We're so glad you liked that. That was one of our favorite ones, you know?
With kids, it's the simple things always. Yeah. Like even my little guys right now, I've experienced it with my daughters when they were little too. You buy them all these gifts for Christmas, and then later on that day, they're playing with Tupperware and a wooden spoon. Like, they don't need all the fancy toys and stuff. They just want you to be there and playing with them. And
it's ironic because it's the same way with pets. You buy them this fancy little toy and they're like, ooh, a bag.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It makes noise. Yay. Well, thank you so much for coming on here and talking to us, Josh. I appreciate so much your candidness about it. I am so thankful for your service. I am excited that you were here. Why don't you take just a couple of minutes and plug the business away?
So we're just a family-owned window tinting business. We've grown to the point now, I think we're almost at about 20 people.
Okay.
We specialize in residential commercials. So we do automotive also. We've always done automotive. But the part of the business we're trying to grow the most is kind of educating. That's why we started the podcast. Educate people on the residential commercial side of the business. Mm-hmm. A lot of people think of window tint, they think of cars. But really the bigger part of the business is really doing homes and buildings. We can save a ton of energy. We do security film, decorative films. We even do like wall wraps. We do completely custom wall wraps. So you can print out whatever image you want and have it look like it's painted on the walls of a garage or a man
we could
cave.
do a big photo of my dad's head right here.
Oh yeah, easily. It's nothing crazy, but we're trying to grow it. We've seen some success in the last couple of years, systematizing it, making it more modern. My dad was still doing, estimates by hand, and now we've got, digital CRM and, all the customer management systems and marketing. And so it's been really fun watching it grow. We'll have quarterly events where we bring like everybody in the business and their family members to like a Knights game. And
fun.
Every time we do it, I kind of sit back and look at this crowd of like 30 or 40 people in this section that we've got. And it's like, wow, like we're responsible for all of this. Like these people's bills are being paid. And so growing that and helping teach the trade. So we've actually even started an academy. So part of doing the podcast is the area we have our podcast studio in. We've created an academy to teach people out there that are already in the window tint trade or want to get into it, how to do the residential commercial side of it. So my brother's won the international window film competition for commercial windows, architectural windows, homes or buildings. He's won that 4 times.
Wow.
And I've won it once.
Nice.
And that all came from my dad being just like, he was very, very, very particular on quality. And that's what those are judged on, is quality of the install. My brother got really, really fast. But also really good quality, which that's what it takes to make money. You need to be able to get a lot done and get it done cleanly to where you're getting referrals and customers. Like we've got repeat customers that have had us tint 20, 30 cars and multiple homes. The home side of it's the real residential, commercial side's the side we're really trying to grow, because most people don't realize that you can save a ton of energy just by tinting the windows in your home. And the film has a lifetime warranty. It's not like the purple, cheap film that you see on cars driving around that goes bad really fast. There's high-end film on cars that'll last forever too, but the residential stuff's totally different, and you can massively increase the energy efficiency of a window. So trying to grow the awareness of that side of the business, because that's where the most potential is for all the struggling like small shops out there like my parents were growing up. When my dad really started going harder on the residential commercial side is when the business really kind of turned a corner, realizing like, okay, you don't need another storefront.
Yeah.
You don't need more space to do more cars. You just need a van and some installers, and you can service the entire valley without taking on all that extra overhead. And a lot of times they're bigger projects, tinting someone's entire house sometimes is, maybe 6 times the cost of a car with one customer, and 2 guys can get that done in a day. So, and the podcast we kind of had similar. It was on Do Not Disturb. That means somebody tried calling me like 3 times in a row. I apologize.
Oh, no. I'm so offended. Okay, your phone rang. It's fine.
That's happened on ours too.
I work in security. That's not the worst thing I've had happen.
Well, I'm just wondering who's tried calling me 3 times in a row. So the podcast, we have on other people in the tin industry, but then we also have local business people on or friends or family in the local Vegas community, because it's like we're trying to help grow the window tint community, be more professional, outward looking to the end consumer, that, you can trust someone from the tin industry to come in your home, test the glass, make sure what they're putting on there is not going to break your windows, because that's something you'll still hear from contractors all the time. Don't tint your windows, it's going to break them. Well, like the history behind that is when windows started becoming double pane windows all the time, tinners that were tinting cars just started taking their car film and putting it on these double pane windows. And that film on a double pane window will for sure break it. Like it's almost going to happen immediately. So the window manufacturers, they don't, as soon as you put anything on the window, they void their warranty. So builders will always tell people, don't tint your windows, it's going to void the warranty. The film manufacturers now make films that they know are safe on double pane windows and are going to be effective and hold out energy. And they even replace the warranty on the window. So it's like there's a lot of bad information out there from people that were doing the wrong thing and didn't know what they're doing, or DIYing it and breaking their window. So it's like, how can we educate as many people as possible about this? We can have people from the tin industry on to talk about it, but then we can have local businesses that we've worked with that we want to help promote their business to the local community. And like kind of how you started this, grow our social media and our social network. The networking my dad always did was the strongest part of our business. Our biggest client to this day is a contractor that was someone that my brother and myself played baseball with their kids, and he built up his contracting business the same time my dad was building up the tint business, and now he sends us more work every year than anybody does. And that was just through traditional networking. So it's like, how can we expand that networking to, have your audience find out who I am and have my audience find out who you are through, us sitting down and having an hour-long conversation. That if it gets listened to 1,000 times, we've just multiplied that information times 1,000,
Hey, see, we bring you new stuff all the time. All right. So podcast, Born to Tint.
Born to Tint podcast with the Miller Brothers. It's on everything. It's on Spotify, YouTube. I think at one point we were trending on Apple Podcasts in South Africa.
Wow.
For some reason, one of our posts on Facebook was going viral from a tint competition we were at, and people in the comment threads were from South Africa, and all of a sudden we were trending in like the top 20 in the entrepreneur category. And
how fun is that?
I was like, I did not expect that. It was like, what? No. I was hoping to reach people here in Vegas. Like if we reach some more people in the U.S., cool.
Ain't nothing wrong going global.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with going global. Website for Green Valley Tint.
GreenValleyWindowTint.com. And then our Instagram is just Green Valley Tint. Everything's Green Valley Tint.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here,
thank
Josh.
you. I really appreciate what you're doing. Like the veteran community definitely needs more people going out and trying to just talk about these conversations, because the more everybody, even if you're not a veteran, can understand kind of what's going on, I don't know. I just think it's going to help a lot of people out there. So I hope really appreciate it.
Living on a legacy. It's my honor and privilege to be able to do it. So I'm thankful you were here. I'm thankful you were so candid, and look forward to having you. Probably going to have you back because we do. But thank you again for your service and for being here with us today.
No, thank you. And I'm hoping you'll come on our podcast.
Of course.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Awesome.
I like to hear myself talk. So I do podcasts. Well, thank you for joining us. All right, guys, you know what time it is. You like, you share. We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We have a website. Did you go to the website? Did you see the resources at the website? Are we missing a resource at the website? You need to check it out and let us know. homefrontharmony.org. I love you guys. I will talk to you later. Have a good one.
Faded photographs, covered now with lines increasing, tickets torn